Hi guys, welcome back to Harry Makes Up. Today I'm going to recreate the look I did on the very beautiful Allison Williams for the NFL Honours Awards, which was over Super Bowl weekend. So first things first, I'm going to pin some hair out the way. I've actually had a trim recently, so I actually have a lot less hair than what I did have, but it's the humidity. You know it guys, I just feel like my hair grows in size time and time again. Let's see if we can get away with just pinning one section back. So the first thing I'm going to start with, and I used a mix of products. I did use a lot of Charlotte Tilbury for some reason on the day, so I have quite a few bits, and I've tried to remember everything I used on Allison. So pretty much everything you see here is near to exactly identical to what I used on her, maybe just different shades. For example, her brows were a bit different colour to mine. So first thing I'm going to start with is Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow. I just like this for red carpet makeup and any foundation. Just find it gives a nice bit of glow to the skin. You can always use it in place of a primer if you prefer. It's especially good for like hydration, and it is kind of like a hybrid of skincare and makeup in one, which is nice. So you get that nice kind of plumped skin look, nice and dewy and radiant. Now on the day I did use Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation on Allison, but on myself I prefer the like Wonder Foundation, so I'm going to use a little bit of that. I'm going to go in with shade 4 and a little bit of 6 because I'm starting to get a tan, guys, now that I live in Los Angeles. So just going to mix that together, and I'm going to use a MAC 188 brush. It's been a while, I've missed this brush, and I'm just going to start in the centre and work outwards. And I just love this foundation, it gives such a nice dewy glow, so pretty, and it works really well as well with the what's it called, Wonder Glow, that's the one. Okay, so that's my base done. Next, I am going to move on to eyes, and I'm going to kind of, you know me guys, I don't always do things in the right order, I come backwards and forwards. I'm going to use Groundwork by MAC, and this is what I use as like a base for the eye, also for red carpet. I like layering products as I know they'll last a really long time. So 2 brushes, one to apply, one to buff with. I'm just taking a Sigma E25 and a Zoeva 227, and I'm just going to start to apply that all over the lid. So kind of to the socket, and just buffed out from the socket, but you guys know the drill with Groundwork, it's just a nice muted tone. And the shape I created on Allison was generally quite a kind of winged shape, so I pulled the shadow outwards and kind of winged it outwards a little bit, sort of the way you would go with a natural liner and then just mimicking that shape with the eyeshadow. Okay, and I take a little bit of that underneath as well, again just to act kind of like a primer. So next I move on to the brows, and I did use the Anastasia Brow Wiz. I think I might have used medium brown or ash brown, but I'm going to use taupe. I have managed to break the spoolie off the end, so we're going to need a spoolie. So I have a spoolie here, just going to give my brows a little brush up, and I'm just going to fill them in now. Allison has a very lovely shaped brow, so I didn't have to do too much adding. I just kind of gave them a slightly fluffier appearance and just a little bit more fullness kind of all over. So I've just strengthened my brows a little bit more than what I would normally, so kind of adding the product. And then this is a new product I'm obsessed with, guys. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Brows, and I wear the shade Brigitte, I think. I do like to take a little bit of the excess off on the back of my hand first, but this is just so lovely in conjunction with kind of another brow pencil first, just to really soften it and give it some definition. So that is with brows on, guys. The next product I used over the top is, I did a mix of using a Kohl and shadow. So I used this palette by Chanel, which is just stunning. It is called Tisse Gabrielle. It's a lovely kind of mix of greys and navies with kind of violet undertones. And the first thing I did was line the eyes with Charlotte Tilbury Rock and Kohl. So I'm going to use that on the inner waterline, and just start to trace the eyes all the way around. And then I took something like a smudger shape brush and just started to pull it out. This one is by Stila, and it kind of intensifies the base of your lash line as well when you use this kind of technique. And then I used a couple of dots on the top lid as well, so just really close to the lash line. You can just do messy dots, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then just smudging that top liner as well. And I'm just using the smudge brush to kind of pull that liner outwards a little bit, so it starts to create what I would do with a flick liner almost. So there's enough pigment within the pencil to do this. I don't really need to kind of add more pencil. Just flick the product outwards a little bit. So now I'm going to go in with the pearly kind of violety grey tone in the Chanel palette. And the great thing is once you've kind of got the darkness around your eyes, it will always stay the darkest there. So it kind of makes it easy from the get-go. I find it's like a little tracing work. And then I'm just going to start to apply this over the lid. And this is such a nice kind of sexy eye. It's very sort of easy to do. Just layering products. And then what I start to do is take the same brush, so where kind of the edging ends, so this kind of point here, I start to take the brush from there and go on the outside corner and inwards. So it starts to lengthen the eye as well, just sort of like that. And you can still buff it in as you go along, but just keep it nice and soft and a smoky haze. And then I dipped a smudger brush into the darker grey, which is more of like a kind of charcoaly grey. Really, really beautiful and deep and intense. And I just kind of run that along the black Kohl I'd already put on and just really started to smudge that so the eye becomes more smoky, a little bit richer. And at the same time, I used that brush, put my hair behind my ear, I used that brush just to start to emphasize the edge. So imagine you were doing a liquid liner, but almost with eyeshadow and in a very soft way. So I'm just running that along what I've already done, just flicking it outwards and just blending it as I go along, and the same underneath. So just making it super deep and smoky, almost like a navy kind of violet feel, which is pretty. So from this point we need to add some concealer so that we can kind of continue blending without anything getting any harsh edges. So I used 2 concealers on the day. A new discovery, which I'm loving, is Cle De Peau Concealer, and this is the shade Ivory. Super long lasting, really good for covering redness and kind of under eyes as well. So I'm going to take a little bit of this with a trusty Real Techniques brush, and I'm just going to kind of take it off of the tube and use this around my nose. It's just so, so good for red carpet. And just using that just to counteract, and it kind of brightens as well really nice. I'm even going to take a little bit under the eyes just to start brightening those areas. And the great thing with your concealers as well, guys, you can really use to start to cheat. So again, you know where I said you kind of almost done what you would do with a liner, but with the eyeshadow, you can use your concealer brush just to kind of cheat that out a little bit. So it stays soft, but you just give the impression of that kind of shape you've created. And the concealer just emphasizes that really, really nicely. So I just used a little bit of that one, and then I mixed in a little bit of my Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. I've got the shade Medium 1, and this is just great just to kind of keep those nice warm tones under the eyes so it doesn't go too bright or too white under the eyes. And I'm just going to use some of this brush just to kind of work that in, a little bit around the nose, and just buff that all in. And then I did use a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury powder, the Flawless Finish Airbrush one. I used shade number 2. I am going to use a little old Ruby and Millie brush. Gotta love a bit of old fashioned Ruby and Millie. And I'm just going to use that to set a little bit. And because it was red carpet, I did use a little bit more powder than what I would do normally. So I kind of popped this all over just to keep it in place. And I use this under the eyes as well, actually, because it's quite good at setting concealer without caking. And we've still got time to blend, so I'm going to show you how we're going to blend. Back to the smudge brush, I'm not putting any more product on, but what I'm going to do is just retrace the areas I've already done. Just so you can see that line stays really super smoky and hazy by just going back over it. I did use some lashes on Allison. I used my current favourites, which is the Ardell Accent. So these are the 301s, these ones. So I'm going to give my lashes a little bit of a curl and pop some mascara on first. And then I'm going to take some of the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara, which is great for volume. So I find kind of one coat of this and just the accents is enough for like a really nice lash look. So I'm going to apply some all through my lashes. And then just using a bit of what's left, I'm going to take some onto the bottom lashes as well, because I think it looks nice with the smoky eye to have a lot of mascara on the bottom lashes too. So I'm going to go on to applying some of the lashes, and these are the simplest lashes to put on in the world, guys. So easy. They're just little corners. I'm going to pop some duo on. So you're literally holding in the tweezer. I'm just going to lay it onto the outer corner. And you're going to have time for the lash to dry, so Don't worry too much about it drying at the beginning. So pretty though. And again, they just really help with that kind of winged shape as well. And these just are, like, without a doubt, the most subtle, beautiful lashes. You can really pull them out to the corner if you want that kind of really winged effect. But they are just so pretty and effortless. So it gives that little extra kick on that outer corner. And that's it for the lashes. Super, super simple. So we'll let the glue dry clear on those, and I will do the rest of my skin. Now, one of the things I did use on the day was this amazing new launch from Hoola. A lot of you guys have been asking me when this is launched. I don't actually know in the UK when it's launched, but I think it's available now in the US. It is Hoola Lite. So it's still matte. It's just that little bit lighter. And just nice kind of like for this time of year. So I just like this to give a bit of subtle warmth, and it's nice on the red carpet when I want the warmth without it looking like a whole tanned look. So really, really love this, guys. And I'm just taking that kind of, just a little sweep all over the high points. And then for blush, I just used a mix of the tones from the Hourglass Ambient Light palette because they're so soft and easy to use. So I'm going to use the Nars Kabuki brush. And I'm using a mix of the pinky and the peachy shades and just applying a little bit of that to the apples. So just for a little hint of colour and a little bit of glow. And then to finish with, I used a bit on the face. I used a bit of the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Moonstone. I always go back to this red carpet. I just find the golden tone is super soft. It photographs beautifully. It's really kind of trustworthy. And I don't go crazy with it. I like a tiny bit on the bridge of the nose, but mostly just kind of on the apples of the cheeks there, I think is super pretty. For lips, I used trusty favourite Charlotte Tilbury and Pillow Talk all over the lips first. And then to finish, I used a bit of Charlotte Tilbury Bitch Perfect. That was the last thing I used. It's great, it's just the right side of creamy. And I find it kind of goes with like any smoky eye tone. So that's the finished look, guys. I don't look like Allison Williams, but this is the makeup that I did on her for the Super Bowl. I hope you guys enjoy this look. I'd love it if you check out my 7-day free course, which shows you everything about red carpet skin in real time and how to kind of apply those principles into a daily makeup routine. It's completely free. I'll pop a link somewhere around here. I'd love it if you subscribe, and I'll see you soon for more videos. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.